Hello everyone, I am Carlos Esteves, I'm director here at Factory Phnom Penh, and we're really excited to be shooting today our factory interview, or our interview by factory, episode number 5. As you guys know, this is a very casual interview where we bring very interesting people and interesting topics that we want to share with you, with our friends, with the community of Factory, with the residents, the visitors, and everybody who is following the project. Today we have a really close friend of ours at this interview, Mr. FONKi is joining us today. This is not your first time talking to us. We talk almost all the time.
Yeah, like every day, but
perhaps not on the cameras.
Yeah. With our friends behind the cameras that we talk mostly every week.
That is true. That is true. We see each other all the time. FONKi is the director here at Art Space. For some of you who do not know, the Art Space at Factory, Art Space consists of currently 2 galleries. One is the FD Gallery and the Air Gallery. FONKi directs both of these galleries, and him and his team are looking after the welfare of the FD Gallery, is looking after promoting arts, not just at Art Space, but in the region. We prepared some questions for you, and here are this is my envelope of questions.
Was question written? I didn't get the memo.
These are the questions. And we just wanna get to know you today. Some people might not know you, so you might wanna start introducing yourself. Tell us a little bit about what your work is, and then you can carry on telling us a bit more about the FD Gallery and the mission and the vision of the FD Gallery here at Factory and in the city, because it has a major impact in the city.
Yes, that too. Thanks, Carlos. Thanks, Factory, for having me on this talk. It's cool because we have always talked about the mission and what we do, but now to have the opportunity to have a summary of it for people to understand more what we're doing at Factory and in Cambodia, in the region, I think is great. So what I do professionally, I mainly paint, let's say. That's my primary tool. So I come from the graffiti to fine arts to various surfaces. But that brought me over the years to creating exhibition. So it started in Montreal 10 years ago with friends, and over the years, till now that we're based here, officially our first, let's say, created exhibition was like 2 years ago. With my co-founder Tatiana Kustikova, the sort of T of my F, and then we brought some friends. I've been coming for 3-4 years. I've been doing exhibition for more than 10 years. But then there's more and more artists coming to the country here, and more artists blossoming in Cambodia. So that's when this partnership started with Factory Urban Village. We started our first physical HQ of FT Gallery here, where the mission is still continuing, developing the art scene and doing what we've been doing, but really focusing in Cambodia.
Before you started FT Gallery, can you talk to us a little bit about the people, or the people who influence you, the people who inspire you to to come to this point of your life where I don't want to just paint. I mean, of course you paint, but you also put together this entity.
I think so many influences, but if I have to pick, and especially on the focus on that realm of art, growing in Montreal we had a boom in terms of street art, and before street art we didn't even use that word. It's just graffiti and productions. So I had a lot of mentors that I looked out from far since I'm 8 years old till they became friends over time, and we collaborated after. So people I think of Scanner, Zach, Stare.
Artists,
big street artists, graffiti writers coming, all of them from the graffiti scene to now also fine arts and many things. And then the A-Shop crew, which is like the biggest sort of production mural company, founded by Fluke and all these dudes. Growing up in that, a lot of influence. Do
you remember your first big mural, first graffiti?
Yeah, of course. My first graffiti, my first tag, which is tag is like just a signature,
your signature.
It was daytime in NDG in Montreal, my neighborhood. Big street, picked up some cans and cars passing by, and my first tag was actually nothing because I was too far. So it's like it was just fumes and I under stress because there's cars, and there was nothing. just a few. So my first tag was a flop, official tag, but that's when I did my first tag consciously for the culture of graffiti and putting my name up, picking up my name FONKi. But I always like had markers. My oldest souvenir is scribbling on the walls of my uncle since I'm, like really primitive.
I mean, I'm trying to imagine.
In fact, I just realized that our general manager, Quentin, we had a discussion from FT, had a discussion that actually the oldest work, oldest job in the world, when we say, oh, I'm doing the oldest job, like, oh, what you're doing, it looks shady. But it's like actually painting on walls, when you see it back to the cavern, the prehistorical time. So it's part of my reptilian memory.
Obviously it's a form of expression, right? You're sending a message. All of your art is you're communicating something, and people. I mean, here it's obviously that people we're hoping get inspiration, but also a lot of people might be getting challenged or might get some sort of, I don't know, awakeness. You just painted a mural here at the campus, and a lot of the background or historical elements of your new mural, it's really powerful.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I was bringing back to, like I said, the reptilian, the prehistorical, or just popping a tag in my city and having a lot of influence from people who really paved the way of like what became organically my job over time, because it wasn't like a goal, I won't be a painter, that's silly, right?
Yeah.
So I studied film animation. I said, as long as I'll draw, I'll be happy. Yeah. So I did all these things, and then it just took all of my time, doing murals, getting murals, painting, doing production with friends when I have free time. So this one here, when I'm doing murals in Cambodia, my first one was 10 years ago, but over time I realized, the impact is different. The feeling I have when I do it here, and I'm digging into my history, my roots, like our culture. It's starting making a whole different sense, and that's why the latest campaign we had was Kampung Era.
Let's get into that latest campaign, which is Kampung Era, happening here at Factory. I know that you're collaborating with 4 to 5 very, very young art talent, three artists.
3 plus 3, because mainly now she has a full team.
Maybe let's go through this profile that people that we learned to discover the project here at Factory. People that, I mean, first of all, they are really, really young. And as we saw them just working over the last couple of weeks, it's just very, very inspiring to see these guys very committed and very dedicated to their project. They obviously, as artists, they are working with their hands, their body, but there is also a sense of a vision. Each of them have a style. Each of them have a signature mural. I developed a crush. Don't say that, but it's a professional. It's a professional crush on all of these younger Cambodian artists. That it's very, very powerful for this generation. So maybe you want to talk to us.
That's what I'm the most excited for with this project.
Yeah, talk to us about that.
Because being stuck in Cambodia for a year, in a way, it was great because we've been able to, set up solid foundation, not me running around the world all the time and, calming down. We're lucky with sort of in that bubble, but that has an impact in the city and everything in terms of the project we have together at Factory with Urban Village. So,
who are the artists participating?
The artists were Davido. Coming back to now, it was exciting to see Davido, Kakada, and Kmenlina. So coming back, the first two that I know best was Davido and Kakada. Because I can't remember when the first time I met them. I think it was Kakada back in maybe 2015. And born and raised Khmer artist. And that's why I was super happy, because as I said, I do what I do because I've been exposed to it at like 8 years old. And graffiti is street art is amazing because you just need to be exposed to it to pick up a brush, a can to do it. So Kakada Davido was the first that I met in 2015, because back in 2012 there was no real scene with an aesthetic Khmer besides Piep and Lisa doing stuff here. So having all of them picking a subject, like Davido, he's doing something with the animals and
he utilizes mainly blue
and orange. And we collaborated for now a few years with Davido. We we did some exhibitions together, or put him also with FT. We're helping each other.
Yeah.
He's been doing. We're sending him on doing some murals too, for clients and stuff like that. And he's always around, you know. Kakada as well. He's one I feel of the most prolific young Cambodian here, and he's young, not so young anymore. He's 26, 27. He's been doing it for quite some years, and I love it because I see his aesthetic is really influenced. I can see his influence, which is like, you know, old books from the 90s. 80s illustration that you find around, so you can really see he grew up on a certain aesthetic, and I love it because that's how he does it in like super highly detailed, big scale. Sort of old school but new school too. Davido, you see he's more graphic designer type of thing. And also when he speaks, he's really structured. He's a teacher actually. He's like an intellectual. They're all smart, but you know, he's inspiring. Kakada has his own way too. And then I met Elina. So I saw her work without knowing it was her at Noir Cafe. So you can find some of her murals there. And I love it too because, and then I knew of her team, you know, with Yoki and what they're doing with Bonpum Festival. So I heard, she's the one doing all the artwork for Bonpum. Or she's the one at Noir Cafe, and she has an aesthetic that is more illustrative influence. I wouldn't say manga, but like comic book influence, manga, her own style.
Kind of futuristic as well.
Futuristic, yeah. The theme, she did a theme of futuristic and digging into also Khmer mythology, ancient queens. And I learned so much from this collaboration because I personally don't know that much about our mythology, some of our culture, and I think that's why I'm so into it in a way, because it's always new. I just like, that's a cool statue. Who's that guy?
What's your personal observation on, you know, female graffiti artists versus male graffiti artists?
I think I had this topic so many times even back home, and I try not to. I don't really differentiate, you know, because at the end it's like, it's the craft, you know, it's what you do. When you see it, the painting we do, you can't tell if it's a male or female, but what's good. So, but I realized
within the community.
Within the community, we had a lot of debate back home and about it. Some of our FT crew, oldest member, family, like Miss Terry back home, she's been through that because it's really more rough back home. It used to be like a male-dominated world, alter ego, that energy, we're most that. But then it's the art, right? It's male or female, whatsoever. So I think I couldn't differentiate and put on which gender.
It is,
But what besides the gender, what I like the way Elina was painting and her whole team. You know what I liked? She had like 3 friends painting with her day and night, and she went like super highly detailed, bring that illustration when you can spend like a week doing that illustration. To a big scale, so I'm like with a little brush and detail. So the patience, even myself, I actually, personal story, in 2011, I started doing portraits. Before I was really more like raw graffiti, lines and tags, cartoons, letterings. And like one of my first real girlfriend, which is still a real girl, a good friend.
We'll ask you more later.
Miss Terry, she's amazing. She's part of FT crew, and she painted and she approached the can like it was a brush, like you can go that detailed. So I started doing portrait back in that time. So I think the patience and the energy was different for me, always running on adrenaline and transferring that adrenaline to pure lines. I got into more the craft and spending more time into my thing, and I think the sensibility that I got from a female, from friends that were female, tuned myself into something like inside of me that I never developed when I was 22. And like,
I guess there is a general thought, perhaps for the community out there, I'm not sure, but there is this general mindset that majority of the street artists might be male, right? You have this, you say graffiti artist or a street artist, and you might be thinking, it's a guy with
but there's so many, I know some of the best, so many
good females. And now to me, observing here Lina at Campo Mera campaign with a bunch of other girls is really, really amazing because they change a bit the narrative, right? And they are redefining the genders.
Right? That too, and I think they just defining because it's such a new thing here in a way, the scene. So I wouldn't say, if I may, redefining, they're just defining, because all of them, and that's why it's interesting, and that's why I'm excited here. Even though at the beginning I'm like, I have to paint again at factory. I love it, but I told Pumera team, please send someone else. Let me paint somewhere else. I did enough walls here. But because of the situation, COVID, it's a bit hard to go in provinces and different. So I'm still blessed to have canvas here, but I'm happy. The most exciting part was to see that first born and raised generation.
Right. Maybe let's give some of our audience some tips. Where can they go and find your murals? Where can people go now during COVID-19 times?
Well, there's
just want to go out there. I spot one at the outside the Singaporean embassy. That's your mural.
Norodam, with my friend Yip Yu Chong. That was the last one we did before the pandemic.
I was in Campo and I saw again your mural at
you went to Boko?
At the night market, fish market.
At the fish market,
I was at the fish market.
Yeah, Kampot I spent. Yeah, it was fun. I love Kampot. It's like calm. It's still.
Where are your murals around the city? Where
so in Kampot I have a few actually, and that's when on Bokor Mountain I did 4 abandoned houses. The one in front of the statues. You know when you go.
Yeah, you go up.
And there, what's your name again? Ye Mao or no? You know the statues in Bokor? Ye Mao, right? So Ye Mao, and there's this old building that was like maybe it was I think a house, some houses from the king, an older king.
Wow.
So I painted a few there.
You have a lot here in factory.
Yeah, here in Kappa within the city too, fish market. There's Java Blue, which is an old colonial house in downtown.
Do you have any pieces at Rosewood or?
No. Well, we had our exhibition, but it was like for 4 months. Some in Siem Reap too, and private places. I wish I had more time. Like before, it used to be full time, like painting freely, finding spots. I have one near the night market here too, from 2014. That from this little girl. That 2014, I came just to travel around and paint freely with a friend, documenting stories. So I still have a portrait on that little alleyway when you go to night market. Of the daughter of the ladies who was making coffee for me every day.
That's night market by the riverside. I seen it many times.
So that was a graffiti street art was a tool for me to meet people, you know, get back the language, exchange.
What is your observation on like the upcoming generation of street artists, the new younger kids trying to also express themselves?
What I like in a way, or what I observe, whatever, I don't care what I like, what I observe, let's say, to be like really neutral, is in a way, they're defining the scene in their own way, which doesn't have to go in the way I grew up with, which is highly influenced by where the graffiti movement started, which is the States, New York, Philadelphia, during a different period, having to do it illegally, expressing this and that, the hardcore. There's no scene of bombing, which we call like tagging everywhere here and there, besides like more foreigners coming and painting around. So they're jumping, and because I think they have other issues than going. It's not, I think, in our Khmer nature, like deeply Buddhism Khmer nature, to just go and be wild, tag your neighbor's door. You know, we're more like initially really like a peaceful state of mind. So, and also when there's a lot of aggression in your life and things and that. But I can say we react and go out. But here, what I like is they don't go through what is the normal school of graffiti, which is like where you legally put your name. So there's no such scene. And it's jumping into, because there's a boom in Cambodia, in Phnom Penh especially, of the city. They're doing directly to murals. And I see more and more coffees with little murals, more, and like I love it because they're getting jobs too. It's like they're redefining also what it is to be an artist. And because, you know, not just in Cambodia, everywhere, are you an artist, you're going to be poor. But like, this is like back in Van Gogh's era. We have all the tools. Our generation have all the tools to promote ourselves, get jobs. And actually, you get paid well when you do gigs, but it's not about getting paid and all that. But I'm happy to see you know,
that's important.
young people doing entrepreneur and getting jobs and putting their name and their craft. So I'm happy to see all these things happening. And they're picking up an aesthetic that is from here and our culture, putting value in our culture.
I think that's one of the most important things, that it's, you know, as you elaborate on this, it sounds that the ecosystem is taking form, is taking shape, and most importantly, the same ecosystem, they are, you know, celebrating local arts.
So that's what I love most, I think, is often older generation or others are like, oh, the new generation, they don't know about Khmer Boran, about this, they don't care. But we actually do care. And I think it's great to seeing, I think art is one of the forms where, like music, like cinema, to keep the culture alive. Like I said, it was, the culture of tomorrow is based on the culture of yesterday, of thousands of years. But if you don't keep it alive today, it might not be there tomorrow. But the culture of tomorrow will be based on this culture today. So this is already ancient for like a few hundred years from now. So I think it's we tend to separate things, but it all comes together. It's all together.
Tell us about what are the next projects and the next programs coming up for FT.
Yeah, we are excited.
End of 2021, maybe the beginning of 2022.
Yeah, season 2021, 2022 is our second year now all together here. Still curate murals, we can't wait for things to reopen, to bring international friends, that we have friends that comes for 3-4 years.
By the time this video comes out, everything is going to be reopened.
Awesome. So we'll be having festivals. So we're preparing, I think, more for early 2022 festival, more murals, but with more artists. We have more workshops coming. We've been doing the live drawing sessions, like classic live Sundays, drawing, new drawing anatomy, every Sunday. So we're gonna start our third session, more classes, and I did 7 years of that too at school. So it's really the discipline of doing a live drawing, and we're gonna start a photography, more oriented workshop, different workshops. Also an exhibition with our neighbor here at Factory, Rainer from Armada Clothing. So also FT now, FT comes from sort of the crew. It started with my friend Smug like in 2005. It's like the graffiti crew, but it evolved into FT Gallery and many other things. But it stands now, one of the philosophy is to feature talent and do featurings, right? So we're going to do this featuring with our friend Armada from the clothing fashion industry. Our friend Tita.
Merging.
Tita, who's like an active young photographer, Khmer female photographer here. And mixing mediums together with paintings and such. So we're preparing a big exhibition for that.
Is there a theme?
Yeah, there is a theme, which is like we're digging again into mythology, ancient story from not just Khmer, but we saw the correlation between Khmer, Philippine, because Reina's from the Philippines, and also the ancient Greek, right? A certain gender fluidity, because all these goddesses, they're like a bit from many sexes and many stories. So we're sort of mixing all that. That's why we're mixing the mediums too. So that's exciting.
That's good. That's looking forward to do that.
That's what we do here. At the end, we have an HQ to incubate cultural projects through various medium.
Good. For all of you watching at home that have not come to Factory Phnom Penh, you can find FT Gallery here at Factory Art Space. I think the opening hours are Wednesday to Sunday.
Wednesday today to 10 to 6 p.m.
To 6 p.m.
We are the Air Gallery.
Do you guys have a website?
We have ftgallery.com under construction, but it links you up to everything on Facebook, Instagram, FT Gallery. So all the news are there. I personally share it a lot too on my FONKi pages. So it's great. It's great.
We're just observing you, watching you, finalizing again the lion at the Angel Factory. Tell us about that and the Japanese Foundation.
Awesome with the Japan Foundation. So that's a pure example of pandemic project with Kizuna from the Japan Foundation Asia Center. They were celebrating their 10th festival. So they're like, oh, let's do a collaboration. I want you to do something that celebrates the friendship. And I'm like, do we have a Japanese artist? Like, not really. But like, I want to open a book and copy. So we have 2-1 who did one of the first murals here, big international artists from Japan. And Kenishiro, my friend, who used to be based here, that does augmented reality. So I'm like, wait a second, I'm going to call them and let's do a collaboration. So I did a mural, and then it animates with a QR code that you're going to find at the mural, that little panel. You can scan the QR code, it's going to open Instagram
So when you
Facebook.
come to Factory Phnom Penh, you pass Fulcrum Cafe, then on the left side next to the Montessori School, you will find
that orange bright lion with Splish Splash.
Nice.
And then there's animation coming out from 2-1, who's a street artist, but also animator, and all designed with some from Kenishiro. So that was great, and it went good. I had to redo it, a little incident happened, but we're happy we ended up doing it again. And that's sort of the foundation for more projects with Japan Foundation, with other partners to do more collaboration, more featurings here at Factory. And we can't wait for the provinces to reopen, because the goal is we incubate things here, but then also when friends come and local artists, we want to show the beauty of our country and go paint in people in places where it's the most needed and show the beauty of our country, which is in the countryside.
We're making history, FONKi.
Yeah, I don't know. We just map the map and then we tell we gather stories, you know.
Yeah, we gather stories. This is like lots of reference for the future. Just as you were saying before, right? You're doing all these things. You're curating all of these. It's gonna serve as platform.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, it's like the vision's been always there. I don't know how it happens, but at the end, I've been doing the same thing for 15, 16 years. That brought me to various different things, right? Like our collaboration here, our partnership. Yeah. But at the end, I think the goal is to collect more and more stories, memories, and spread some colors, you know, and share. It's like create this dialogue between us.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to hear this. I'm sure all the guys watching at home are going to be also really inspired by the stories. Just one last thing. I know that lots of the followers, the community and friends, there are some people out there wanting to explore their art careers. What would be that advice that you can share with the community out there?
One is just go out there. In terms of, it's fine. You can be the most of the artists are shy, you know. So it's fine. Whatever you show, whoever you are, you're perfect how you are. But go out there, which is now having, for example, a platform. That's one of the mission, right? Having a platform here, like having the Air Gallery, which is open to pretty much everyone. But go out there, ask questions, be exposed to it. Go like you have to nourish yourself from everything, not just art cultural, but go out there too. I do what I do, and because I had mentors. Before I spoke to them, I observed what they were doing, and still now I have mentors and still be connected, you know. Or just now we have all these tools like on the internet, and you can see who's doing what. So I think to be curious is the key, and then I think not overthinking is not that good. Just do, you know, just do it at the end. But you need all of these. So and here, come visit us. We're always here. So feel free to knock on the door, the studio. Or we have the production studio too, the FC studio. So if it's not me, Quentin, my general manager, is there full time. So we're you know. We're cool.
Thank you for sharing that. As FONKi was just saying, just come over, visit FT Gallery, visit Factory Phnom Penh. For more details, just follow us on Facebook, FT Gallery.
FT Gallery,
And then Factory Phnom Penh, and you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, or you can visit also our website, factoryphnompenh.com. Thank you so much, FONKi. It was really good talking to you.
See you guys.
See you around.